Welcome back, Imagination Connoisseurs. I'm Lana, and this is Lana Yuen Reviews, exclusively on the Burnett work. Today we're reviewing 2016's The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This might surprise you, but I have actually watched a good number of indie horrors over the years. Classics like The Blair Witch Project, Inside, 28 Days Later, and It Follows. Most of which I learned through recommendations from friends or just glimpsing in the background at house parties. It's how we discovered cool shit back then. But with the recent switch to streaming, it's become increasingly difficult to discover new quality indie films, especially with so much shovelware just being dumped in these platforms every day. Flipping through the horror section of my streaming platforms is a lot like wading through the straight-to-video aisle of your local video store. It's a total guessing game. And when it comes to The Autopsy of Jane Doe, it just looked kind of run-of-the-mill. Besides hearing nothing about it, everything from the cover art to the title itself just felt generic, especially seeing it nestled up against other similarly themed morgue movies in my search results. And with no interest in checking online reviews, I've just missed it over and over again, until someone recently recommended it to me a lot, and they were right, and I was wrong. And that's the one time I'm gonna say it. The Autopsy of Jane Doe stars speed racer Emile Hirsch as Austin Tilden, the wonderfully foul-mouthed Brian Cox as Tommy Tilden, and Ophelia Lovabond as the lifeless and always naked corpse Jane Doe. The movie is directed by Andre Ovredal. Nailed it. Who's directed such films as Troll Hunter, Freaks, which also stars Speed Racer, and the film adaptation of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I still need to see. The Autopsy of Jane Doe follows the story of father and son, Tommy and Austin Tilden, who run a family-owned morgue. Delightful. One night, the sheriff brings in an unidentified body of a young woman, a Jane Doe, found at a mysteriously gruesome crime scene. As they begin the autopsy, they discover strange and inexplicable anomalies within her body that defy medical explanation. With time running out and their own lives at stake, the father and son must uncover the truth behind this Jane Doe's death and find a way to stop the supernatural terror before it claims their lives. And before we go any further, this is your last warning that we are heading into official spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen The Autopsy of Jane Doe yet, I highly suggest you do. It's one of those hidden gems from the last decade that definitely deserves your attention. And with that, let's get this postmortem underway. Having this movie set exclusively in a morgue, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I'd seen other horror films taking place in one small, pretty confined location, and most of which started really strong until the gimmick wore thin. However, The Autopsy of Jane Doe works from start to finish. The film does a great job of showing us the entire layout of the mortuary before our titular character ever arrives. As Austin gives a tour of the building to his girlfriend, you not only get to know each room's purpose, but how far they are from each other and where all the exits are located. And when things start heating up, you feel just as trapped as they do in the confines of this very enclosed mortuary space. Ugh. Even with its simple premise, I got caught up in the mystery of who, or what, this corpse really was. Is she faking her death? Is she some sort of demon in hibernation? Is she a humanoid android with a tiny alien piloting inside of her head? I wanted to know more. As Tommy and Austin meticulously go through every part of her, or almost every part of her, peeling away clue after clue, it felt more like I was watching two detectives putting together a crime scene in real time. Tommy as the more seasoned and hardened detective, and his rookie partner Austin, who's on his first case. Every minute spent at that examination table is full of suspense. Tommy leans over Jane Doe, just inches away from her mouth as he looks for clues, and the camera holds on her lifeless face, just long enough to trick you into thinking she might just come alive at any moment. Like that scene in The Thing, when the dude's chest opens up and rips off Dr. Cooper's arms. Combine that with the flickering fluorescent lights, the howling wind from the storm outside, and the radio eerily playing Let the Sun Shine In. This film just gets under your skin. No pun intended. I already knew I was gonna love this, but let's just talk about Brian Cox. He continues to be one of my favorite supporting actors working today. Ever since his brief but iconic role as the headmaster in Wes Anderson's Rushmore, I have adored him. He tends to always be cast as the cranky old man with those perfect one-liners. My type. So it was surprising seeing him playing this endearing, warm, fatherly role in The Autopsy of Jane Doe, especially after I saw him tell his children to fuck off like 100 times in succession.
Fuck off. fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Which I highly recommend. One more thing to appreciate about this movie is just how much it doesn't show you. We only get glimpses of what's actually tormenting our father and son team. The corpses haunting the mortuary are only partially shown in mirrors, silhouetted in dark hallways, and as shadows moving under doors. It leaves the audience feeling just as in the dark as our main characters do, creating another layer of mystery and suspense and complete immersion that had me guessing if this was in fact really happening to them or if it was all just an illusion. And when they literally peel away the layer of the final mystery, revealing the ritualistic tattoos underneath her skin, it all started to make sense. Most of it started to make sense. Like, how did those get there? But the rest of it started to make sense. You know, not only is she a witch, but she was actually a young girl accused of being a witch, the evil of which infused her body with just enough evil energy still suffused in her like mortal form to keep her just conscious enough to exact murderous revenge upon anyone else bringing her bodily harm. Like, how fucking cool is that? And with that reveal, it left the door open to so many more questions. Like, if she kills someone else, does that resurrect another piece of herself? We did see her skin and eyes begin to clear up with Tommy's sacrifice. And if that's true, if she kills enough people, will she eventually be brought back to life? Because if so, oh man, we are so fucked. These open-ended questions really kept me theorizing about all the possibilities long after the credits rolled, and that's a hallmark of a good film. As for Austin, I never really connected with him. While I enjoy the back and forth between him and his father during the actual autopsy scenes, whenever he was on his own, I just didn't care. Compared to Tommy, who was struggling to hold on to his past and focusing on the job to mask the pain, something that I know none of us relate to, Austin just lacked that extra layer of depth that I was looking for. Or maybe it's just that Emile Hirsch has that same blank look on his face the entire movie. And even though I really loved Tommy, whenever the movie slows down for him to reminisce about his recently deceased wife, I don't even know if she's recently deceased. Sometimes it felt like it was recent, sometimes it felt like it was a long time ago. It never came up in conversation organically. It sort of came out of nowhere and at the oddest times, and that stuff doesn't normally bother me, but it really stuck out here. I wasn't going to mention this because it's not really like a big plot point in the movie, but it has become a meme at my house, so I will say I was very displeased about the treatment of the cat in this movie. He loves the cat gets mangled, it gets its neck snapped, and it gets incinerated. Please, it's enough, okay? What does this writer have against cats? Witches love cats. Oh, maybe that's why she was so pissed off. But I have a theory. I think it's all an illusion. I don't think the cat is dead. I think the witch made them think that the cat was dead. I think the cat is fine. Either way, I will say, I am glad to see the mangled cat puppet from Reanimator getting some work. Overall, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is one of those movies that totally took me by surprise. And I say that every time, but like this time I really mean it, especially after I had swiped past it so many times. With its simple premise, the film masterfully blends elements of mystery, suspense, and supernatural horror in a really unique way that kept me guessing all through the end of the movie and then days after. I'm still guessing now. Think you got that from the last thing I said about the cat. I seriously didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. It's just that good. So what did you think of The Autopsy of Jane Doe? Do you think that Austin's girlfriend was really killed, or was that just an illusion? Just like the cat was definitely an illusion, that cat is fine. I'd like to think so, and I'd love to know what you thought in the comments below. So until next time, see ya. It's been a while since we did this. I'm a little rusty. Is this about to be a pun? When they peel away the final layer?
Sit. Hey. Sit.
Quiet on set. This is just full of puns. It's just killing me. No, it's great. I love it. Not to say that Emile Hirsch couldn't have a girlfriend. Just seems unlikely. Just kidding.